Hey, what's up everyone? Paul from Grindhouse Funhouse, and welcome to another entry in my Only on VHS series. This one has been at the very top of my list to review since I started this series back at the beginning of my channel. Been waiting to get my hands on a copy, and I finally did 2 weeks ago. So what is it? Why, it's 1987's Enemy Territory, starring Gary Frank, Tony Todd, Jan-Michael Vincent, and Ray Parker Jr. Yes, that Ray Parker Jr. It's about an insurance salesman who's in a dry spell at work, whose boss does him a solid by sending him to get a signature and collect the premium on a life insurance policy from an old lady and get a big easy commission out of it, but it has to be done right away. So he drives to the Lincoln Towers, a housing project in Brooklyn, to get it done, but gets trapped there after dark when an encounter with a gang member in the building turns deadly. Along the way, he finds people trying to help him to get out of this situation with his life. This was an Empire Pictures release and had a very brief theatrical run back in May of 1987. This was directed by Peter Manoogian, who's behind 1986 Eliminators, 1989's Arena, and 1992's Demonic Toys, which are all Empire Pictures releases. Our main star, Gary Frank, which Enemy Territory was his one and only starring role in a theatrical movie. The rest of his career is full of guest spots in TV series and a few TV movies. We have Jan-Michael Vincent. I mean, if you're watching videos on this channel, you know who the man is. Same with Tony Todd. And you have Ray Parker Jr., of all people, still riding high on the success of writing and performing one of the most popular movie theme songs of all time, co-starring in Enemy Territory. This is a solid, it all happened in one night / we're stuck in a building or trapped in a gang-infested neighborhood and they're after us action thriller that in the 80s to the mid-90s was its own subgenre of movies like Chains, Trespass, or Judgment Night. Enemy Territory is not mentioned as much on the list because of its limited availability, being that it's only been released on VHS and on Laserdiscs, but it should be part of the conversation because it is one of the better versions of that story. It's lean and mean with its 80 minutes running time, and I like that they don't waste time because 10 minutes into the movie, we're already at the housing project where Barry, the insurance salesman, is warned by the one and only security guard in the building that his white ass shouldn't be here.
You scare all the white salesmen who come in here with ghost stories?
White, black, yellow, and red.
Tells him that this whole building is run by a gang, that it's a total war zone, and no one from the outside world dares visit it. So he meets with the old lady in her apartment, gets the signature, and he leaves. But then in comes Tony Todd. Before he was Candyman terrorizing the Cabrini Green housing project in Chicago, he played the Count, the gang leader of the vampires terrorizing the Lincoln Towers.
What do you see?
The moon.
What kind of moon?
Oh.
This is our night, our castle. Nobody rubs an ass-dirty finger on the walls of our castle. Especially not on our night. Especially not no ghosts. What's out there for us?
Nothing.
What's out there for us?
Nothing.
What's in here for us?
Everything.
In these walls, we are the world. Not faceless black holes. The world. The night belongs to. Show me your fangs.
As Barry tries to take the elevator back down, he's greeted by the Count and his minions, letting Barry know that he shouldn't have put his hand on a blood brother trying to escalate things. Wants to kill the ghost, as they call him, to protect their honor, and shit goes sideways. The kid gets shot by the old kindly security guard. And that's when Ray Parker Jr. comes in, who was there in an apartment on a booty call / there to repair phone lines that are down in the whole building, pre-cell days. And nice guy that he is, he tries to help Barry to get out of the building. So basically, this is like a reverse The Raid or Dread, where they get into a building and they have to work their way up. Here, they're like 20 floors up and trying to work their way back down. In comes a young Stacey Dash before she went crazy in her film debut, playing the old lady's granddaughter, and she tags along trying to help as well. She lets them know there's an apartment where they can hold out. Mr. Parker's, who's a paranoid Vietnam vet living in his barricaded bunker-like place, armed up to the teeth.
But there is one place I think you can hold out at.
What are you thinking?
Well, if we can get them down to Mr. Parker's.
Oh, that crazy fool? You talking about a cure that's worse than the disease.
Well, wait a minute. Who is this Parker?
He's the one man in this building that the vampires are afraid of.
And that's because he'll shoot anyone looks like they might even be thinking about messing with him.
He's played by young Michael Vincent in a wheelchair, which I wondered, was it because of the way the character was written, or was he just too drunk to get up and act? We'll never know, but he's actually pretty good as an angry veteran in the little screen time that he has.
Why don't you just let him have his miserable ass?
Maybe you are smarter than that.
Maybe you figured you'd make a fat piece of change off this white boy's ass.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't care if he's white, black, or fucking fudge ripple. Man's in trouble, I'm gonna help him.
Meanwhile, the Count is let know by one of his minions that they've looked through all the apartments down 12 floors and up 8. So the Count sends his right-hand man, Psycho!
Psycho!
to go between 12 and 8 to locate and eliminate them. Psycho does find them, but Stacey Dash puts a bullet in him and he falls down an elevator shaft. And then things get weird, as in it turns into Night of the Living Dead weird. When the group goes down that same elevator shaft, finds Psycho dead at the bottom. He's already got his zombified face on, wakes up, attacks them again, and gets killed again.
Hey! Get out the way! Get out the way!
I don't know what they were thinking, just an odd turn to take here for even a few minutes, which I enjoy, but why it happened, who the hell knows. So then they find the spot where to escape, which Stacey Dash character takes advantage of and escape to go get the cops, while Barry and Ray Parker Jr., too small to crawl into that exit, waits to be rescued. And I'll let you find out about the rest. A few more things. This is the kind of movie Ernest Dickerson was cutting his teeth on right around the time he teamed up with Spike Lee on She's Gotta Have It and became his go-to cinematographer and then became a movie director in his own right. The man already had a good eye for the way urban locations should look and feel like. He set up great atmosphere of dread in this and those brightly lit claustrophobic halls in the projects, which were shot in Bed-Stuy. I saw that Kadeem Artisan had a role in this, billed as A-Train, and he surely does. Barely a few minutes of screen time at the end of the movie as one of the vampires members guarding the building outside, and he gets gunned down by Ray Parker Jr. This movie would be a prime candidate for a Blu-ray release through the VSA line from Vinegar Syndrome with titles like Action USA, Savage Dawn, LA Wars, and the Martial Law series. But there's clearance issues when it comes to the music used in enemy territory, more specifically the Boogie Boys track that bookend the film. So it's believed that's what's been the holdup since 1987. But the good news is that you can still find VHS copies of it, but if you'd rather take the easy way out, there's a few good rips of Enemy Territory on YouTube. So would I recommend Enemy Territory? I would 100% recommend it. It sucks that it became a Lost to the 80s VHS era movie because the whole cast is pretty on point. Gary Frank playing Barry, our protagonist, makes us feel how it would be in this situation. Like, I'm not saying this is a Daniel Day-Lewis style acting tour de force, but we're in it with him, watching him be an ordinary Joe / clock puncher trying his best in a shitty situation, and he portrays that very well. Ray Parker Jr. playing a selfless hero, trying to help him out is quite good. He's not just Ray Parker Jr., singer-songwriter of the biggest movie theme song of all time. He could have been called to do other roles like this, but this was his only leading man role. And honestly, I was surprised how well he did with it. And Tony Todd playing the Count gives a good, unhinged, scenery-chewing performance as the gang leader.
I'm gonna rip out your heart and suck your blood!
And I just wish we had seen more of him. It's a pretty tight B-movie script with good setups and payoffs, a few funny moments here and there, a pretty lively synthy score from Richard Kosinski, and for little budget they must have had being an Empire Pictures release, they've handled themselves quite well. And you have a scene with a machine gun wielding grandma shooting at gang members from an apartment window. What else do you want? I'm giving it 8 ghosts out of 10. That was my review for Enemy Territory. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, Reddit, and on Facebook. In the comment section below, let me know your thoughts on Enemy Territory. Do you find it to be one of the better It All Happened in One Night, We're Stuck in the Hood movies? Do let me know. Many more movie reviews in the works, so come back soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll say to you, ciao bye for now.